Why is it courageous to leave an abusive relationship, but not an abusive job? This is for Black women in toxic jobs. I recently saw this quote on LinkedIn. It was a post, and it really inspired me to do this video. So, this video is going to be more about mindset. The virtual summit, the Job Liberation Virtual Summit, is going to talk a lot more about the how to, the practical of getting your exit plan together. We're going to talk about mindset too, but the summit is really to prepare you about getting your plan together, getting out based upon your timeline. But I said, you know what? I think I want to talk a little bit more about mindset because of some of these comments that I'm hearing from Black women, that I'm reading about from Black women in relation to that perception that they can't leave a toxic job because they don't want the employer to win, or the employer's not going to run them out, or that mentality. So I want to talk about it because I think as Black women, many of us have been taught, we've been brought up that we're strong, that we fight, that we don't let anybody run us out of a situation, that we're not weak, that we're not a punk, all these other things. But I think what's happening is that now it's causing us to stay in environments that are harming us, that are abusive. So I'll invite you to think about some things as you're watching this video. So again, this is going to like a mindset reflection video and some wonderings that I have for you. So as you're watching this video, I encourage or invite you to just reflect on what I'm saying, or as I say to my clients many times, just marinate on what I'm saying. Okay. You don't have to respond, or you don't have to anything like that. I just want to encourage you to really marinate on some of the things that I'm asking in this video. If you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, a toxic job survivor, and more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. So, I'm launching with Mercer Price, the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women, May 18th and 19th. We're going to talk about mindset, but also the practical steps, what you need to do to replace your income and get that timeline together, your finances, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be in the summit. Okay, so please register for that. But I also want to talk to you about some mindset things. So if we think about as Black women that, we have to fight and do all these other things. And so in our mind, sometimes it might seem like we're weak or somebody's winning if we're leaving a situation, particularly a job situation. But I invite you to think about, why is it okay? And why are we okay saying you're courageous for leaving an abusive relationship, yet you are being beat down and abused at a job, but that's not courageous? I invite you to think about that. Now, I also invite you to think about a quote that my good friend said, Colette Elizabeth. She said, sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to walk away. So walking away from a situation that's abusive and saving yourself, ask yourself, how are you losing by saving yourself? Okay, think about that. The other thing I invite you to think about is, what are you fighting for? And what are you trying to win? Okay. Now, I did a previous video about this too, asking at what cost are you trying to win whatever this thing is that you're trying to win? I invite you also to think about this. When we're in a toxic job, it's often a toxic system that you might have a workplace bully or some people in your workplace who are treating you some kind of way negative. And on some level, you might think, oh, well, I'll do this, I'll do that. You start strategizing, and it might even mess with your sleep because you're trying to strategize in your sleep. You're trying to strategize on your way to work. You strategize on a weekend, all that kind of stuff. But the game is rigged. And let me share with you about how the game is rigged. We think about a toxic system that you might be thinking, okay, I'm doing these things, I'm reporting these people, I'm doing all these other things. More than likely, those in upper management know what is happening and they're not doing anything about it. And they're allowing this toxicity to continue. And when they allow that, they're being complicit. And they're allowing, and the message they're sending to the workplace bully or other people engaging in negative, unprofessional behavior in the workplace is it's okay, right? So then they start running amok and they start doing stuff. And or those in upper management might be engaging in toxic behaviors as well. So you might be thinking that, you're going to seek recourse, you're going to report people, you're going to do all these other things, but the system is toxic. The other thing that I want to invite you to think about, which I didn't know at the time when I was at the toxic job, is you don't know what types of relationships people have with each other behind the scenes. Many times you don't know. A lot of times they're very inappropriate relationships, but you don't know. So they may say one thing or present one way, but behind the scenes they're doing things, and right, so they're looking out for each other. So be aware of that. And also recognize that because of these relationships they have with each other that you may not know about, they may be looking out for each other in ways that not only if you try to report them, nothing really happens, but they may be doing things to push you out because they're trying to protect this other person. You might also see situations in the workplace where they promote the bully. That happened to me where the workplace bully was promoted. I couldn't believe it. I was at a loss. When people said, "Oh, she's going to get promoted," I was like, "It's no way in the world that she's going to be promoted." I was confident. Yeah, she got promoted, and that might happen at your job as well. And in fact, that happened a lot at the previous job that I worked at, where workplace bullies or incompetent people were being promoted. And what you will see is, like in the situation I was in, the workplace bully got promoted. And then she started creating positions and promoting her cronies, right? So those who were complicit in the oppression, she started promoting them. So that might be a similar dynamic at your job. You might be working really hard. You might be trying to get these promotions, all these other kind of things. And then you have people who really are mediocre at best, and they're shining over you. They're getting promotions, they're getting all these other things, and you working yourself to the bone. So I invite you to think about when you see that that's happening, pause and say, wait a minute. Okay, this is not adding up. Something's not adding up. I don't know the full details of what's going on, but I know there's something not right. Okay. So just pay attention to that and recognize and sit with yourself and maybe talk to someone that you trust, not at the job. Okay. Please, not at the job. Talk to someone that you trust, a therapist or someone else that you trust, and you can tell them about what's happening, and they can reality test with you like, yeah, this doesn't sound right. And or you are experiencing abuse and trauma in this work environment. So even though you might think, I got this, yeah, you got it, but you're also being abused and traumatized. Okay. Two things can be true at the same time. So if you are being abused, the mindset part that I want you to really reflect on is, how is it that you would be okay walking away from an abusive relationship, but not being okay walking away from an abusive job? What is it about this that is keeping you there? So when I talk about mindset issues, often that is one of the biggest things that keeps us at a toxic job, besides fear of the finances, which we're going to talk about during the Toxic Job Liberation Summit. But thinking about what needs to happen for you to acknowledge what is happening to you, and for you to say to yourself, I need to save myself. It's not worth it trying to prove anything to anybody, because you're going to get harmed in the process. And if you're thinking this is the only place where I can make money, that's not true. If you're thinking this is the only place I can do this work, more than likely that's not true as well. So again, start thinking about what's going on in your mind that's making you think that you have to stay in an abusive situation that's harming you. So this is, again, it's just a mindset video. Okay. So, thinking about, like I said, Colette Elizabeth, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to walk away. Ask yourself these questions that I'm asking during this video in the quiet places of your life, when you have a moment. Just ask yourself these questions, Or maybe if you're in therapy, you might even want to bring these questions up in your therapy session and really process these things, okay? So a lot of times, again, you don't know what is going on behind the scenes at these jobs and ways people are connected to one another. And you might be thinking, I'm working really hard, I'm a report, I'm gonna do all these other things. But again, the system is toxic, okay? So sis, remember what I'm saying. And I just really want to encourage you to save yourself. That's what I really want to encourage you. And, I'm out here on YouTube talking to you because it really breaks my heart when I hear Black women say, this job is killing me, but I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to let them run me out. I talked to you before about a Black woman that I recently talked to, and she mentioned about having a heart attack and, because of the stress at the job, but that she, was going to stay there and she was going to fight them and all these other things. That breaks my heart to know that as Black women, that we will allow ourselves sometimes to continue to stay in abusive jobs because of our mindset blocks, right? So again, this video is to really encourage you to really identify what the mindset blocks are and how to address that. And then for the practical stuff, we're going to talk about that a lot more, come up with a plan during the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, May 18th and 19th. So as you may remember, your identity will not be, right? We're not going to out you during the summit. So participants will not have their faces seen, their names will not be listed. Please do not let that keep you from participating in the Job Liberation Summit. If you've already registered, please make sure that you tell other Black women to also register, because I'm ushering in a movement to help as many Black women as I can to leave and heal from toxic jobs. Even if I don't know you, I want better for you. I don't want you to be beat down and traumatized and abused at a toxic job, because I know what that feels like, because that was me. Okay, I want better for you. So as I'm signing off, again, reflect on what I'm talking about in this video. We're looking at mindset. So please share this video with at least 2 other Black women. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. And please give this video a thumbs up and register for the summit. Okay, so I'll see you later. Bye.